Boo! There we go. Hello. Hi, everyone. How are we doing today? How is everyone? How was your weekend? There's an over proportional representation of the red mob today. Prince Paradox doesn't have an end to the week. Well, sometimes that's a good thing, right? For me, weekends always mean more taking care of the kids, which sometimes is good, sometimes they're not here, right? So sometimes it's just a lot more stressful than doing work. Um, Dentist, thank you. All right. What can I say? We had a big launch on Thursday, right? Thursday last week. So I hope you're all tapping. And because we had that, I thought I'd bring somebody who is actually responsible for the game on the tavern today. So I don't have Pedro, but I have somebody who's at least as good as Pedro, at least when it comes to answering your questions regarding tap monsters and chain monsters. Hello, Max. Hi.
Hi everyone. I'm sure you don't know who I am yet, but I'm basically the game director responsible for chain monsters and tap monsters at Spielworks. So yeah, nice to meet everyone here.
Thanks for coming on, Max. There is gonna be a Community Connect stream specific to chain monsters and tap monsters tomorrow, so we can advertise this here. I just thought that in case there's any questions, and I see the first questions. First question by Beantown Bob here. I thought let's have a segment on tap monsters specifically at the beginning of the stream for about 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. I don't know how long we're going to take. Sorry, Max, but then after that, we'll basically go to the usual Dungeon Master and Wombat and whatnot questions. But for now, I will tag or star all the Dungeon Master and whatnot related questions. But for now, let's stick with some tap monsters / chain monsters related question because we have Max on, and then we can let Max go and do his magic. So before we get going, because the audience that you encounter today will not be exactly the same. Maybe now, yes, because they will love what they hear, but so they all will come on tomorrow as well. But there might be some people who have never heard of chain monsters before, maybe before Thursday. They've never met you, so maybe you can give us a little bit of a background behind chain monsters, how it all started. Maybe if you want, Max, you can add a few words about yourself, what you've done before, or whatever, if you want, right? And then give us a little bit of a rundown on the history of chain monsters, and then we'll dive into questions and stuff.
Yep, of course. So I'm Max. I've been pretty much a game developer all my business life so far. Chain Monsters has been my first actual bigger jump into the crypto scene, even going back to 2017. So early days, I would say, similar to Spielworks, we've been pretty early in the whole space, and we went through multiple iterations. And Chain Monsters, together with my co-founder Lazenda and me, we joined Spielworks back in May, and we're very happy with the overall results. We were basically able to pick up the development of Chain Monsters again, because unfortunately we had to pause it in 2023. So that was really exciting. And in general, Chain Monsters itself is like a massive multiplayer online RPG. If you ever played like monster tamers like Pokemon or Temtem or any of that sorts, then you'll probably love Chain Monsters, because we're not only connecting all the excitement of crypto and blockchain with monster tamer like Chain Monsters, but we're also we have now started to push into pretty much territories where no one else has been gone before, including pretty much state-of-the-art AI and machine learning. And there are many things I would love to say, but we have a white paper coming up, a wiki, all the exciting stuff going to be revealed soon. And yeah, I hope you do join the Community Connect stream tomorrow, because it will be like a mix of Tap Monsters and Chain Monsters. For those who actually didn't play Tap Monsters yet, I highly recommend it. So Tap Monsters is based like a little spin-off experience in the Chain Monsters universe. It connects like an idle game mechanic where you're like pretty much upgrading your lab. You're looking to increase your hourly earn and everything. But at the same time, as a researcher of the NCorp organization, you are responsible for discovering new Chainmon species. And this is like something that is really goes well beyond, of course, the traditional idle gamer mechanic. And we have so many new exciting mechanics in store that we would like to push to Tap Monsters itself. And most importantly, especially for, and I imagine that most of you are part of the crypto crowd, and especially for those who are looking to be involved as a community and as well as potential future stakeholders in the Chain Monsters project, the Tap Monsters game is actually our introduction to the monster token. And the monster token in Chain Monsters will be the main premium currency, and you will be able to pretty much supercharge and unlock many additional stuff, not only cosmetics, but also some boosts, for example, in Chain Monsters. So now is the best time to get involved, join our Discord, join the Telegram game, and most importantly, have fun, right?
Fun it is. So the feedback that I personally have been getting from pretty much everyone so far, like Kevin Kev basically pointing this out, oh my god, but that this is one of the best, if not the best, Tapper game on Telegram so far that they've played, right? It's not my words, right? So it's I'm just paraphrasing. So I think that's awesome. And I think also what's unique, or yeah, I don't want to use the word unique too much, but I think what's really new here is that the Tap game is actually part of a larger ecosystem, right? So of a larger experience, and the token will be the same token that's going to be used in the Chain Monsters game. So that's really, really cool. And so you can already be a part of Chain Monsters before it even relaunches, by basically playing Tap Monsters. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Max, is there a few things that you can share on kind of what's on the roadmap for Tap Monsters specifically? Like, what can people expect today, tomorrow, the day after? Like, on like which cadence will we have? I mean, we one note before you answer. I found it amazing how we already had the first additional features out on Friday after actually launching on Thursday. All right, so we already had kind of things out right away the next day, and we are also able to react to feedback really, really quickly. So somebody, I take off my pants and jacket, very cool Twitch name, already is asking for bug bounties. Please report them, and we'll definitely be able, especially if there's issues that we're not aware of, like exploitable issues and whatnot, and suggestions how to fix them. Maybe we definitely will reward that. The monster token is not out yet, so I'm not sure whether you would want to wait for that. But anyway, the resolution on desktop, that's one of the the desktop experience is one of the hardest things to actually get right. Yeah, anyway, Max, can you talk about a little bit of the roadmap for Tap Monsters already?
Yep. So for sure, I mean, first of all, I'm personally super thankful for everyone who played so far, and as Adrian mentioned, the reception from you guys has been incredible. Really grateful for all the nice comments. And again, if you have feedback, if you have some bugs that you encounter, please post them. You have the Chamos Discord, you have other means of reaching us, so please do so. Well, first of all, we do want to improve a couple of things, and luckily we are able to push out new features, both small and bigger at the moment, very quickly. So one thing that we actually launched today is an improved UI UX for the earn screen. So now you actually have like proper, better feedback for when you actually complete tasks, which grant you some boosts. And we want to push that a little bit further. So basically, one of the earliest things we're going to release very soon, again, more details tomorrow, but just a little heads up, are going to be additional earn tasks. So everyone who's like logging in daily will be able to complete additional tasks basically on a daily basis to get even more boost, because we know that many people are looking for ways to get even more coins to upgrade their lab, etc., to generate more chain mods, for example. This is coming very, very soon. We are also going to launch something that I know that Adrian is really excited about, but I'm as well, which is going to be the clan feature. So at the moment, you're pretty much competing on your own on one of the leaderboards, and we will have many more leaderboards in the future, of course. But clans is going to be something where you are, and you might be familiar with the way that Wombat handles that, of course. So you're basically joining groups together. You will be able to benefit from each other, and this is not only benefiting the big influencers or whales that are currently, for example, on the top of the leaderboard. This is going to be a feature that's going to enable everyone, if they're dedicated, again, completing daily tasks and everything, to rise the ranks and truly compete with each other on like a more fair playing field, basically. And I mean, a couple of things, but I kind of want you to go to the app and check out some of the pages that we have, because we did tease a couple of pretty interesting things already in the current version. So check out what we put in the app, and you will get some ideas of what we're working on with a higher priority at the moment.
Awesome. I hope the construction noises are not too loud, because I have a little bit of a construction going on the outside. Maybe one thing I would ask before diving into the questions, Max, is some kind of PvP thing planned?
Well, let's put it this way. At the moment, when you discover species, they're added to your collection, but this is not going to be the only thing that you can do with your monsters. So there's going to be battles, and we're trying to achieve player versus player battles as well. So you will be able to actively use the collection and the chain that you actually level up over time in some battle mechanic, basically. Yeah, more details will be revealed. Again, join tomorrow's stream. Maybe we'll have some more info on that then.
So a teaser for the teaser, or a teaser for the announcement. That's awesome. So definitely don't miss out. That is gonna be. Hang on, Pedro told me this. That's 3 p.m. UTC, so 5 p. So an hour later, and this one started.
Yep.
Awesome. I actually wasn't aware that we already had the new earn page layout out. That is cool, because it looks a lot better than the previous one. So now we just need to have a lot of more tasks in there. That's gonna be awesome. So a bunch of questions. Let's start with Beantown Bob's, because Beantown Bob has been waiting 13 minutes to get this answered. Are you clicking on tab monsters to test, or to take some out of the pool? I'm not sure what that means really. But
I can imagine. Yeah, it's so basically, from a lore point of view, the crystal inhibits the chainmon species, and you as a researcher basically revealing them over time. And this will all be much better presented with some nice animations we're currently working on, so that will look super fancy. But yeah, so you are discovering them through the crystal, and just as a small little tip, because I saw some people didn't realize that you can actually increase your tap power. So every time you tap, you're gonna generate more coins, and the energy will be consumed faster. This is not only going to affect the crystal tapping and the speed of how much time you need to complete it, but this will also be further used in an upcoming Chainmon feature, basically. Just as a tip.
That me me being fourth currently in the leaderboard. That is a well, I've invited a lot of people. I actually didn't intend to be fourth. I will get removed from there, of course, right? I'm not intending to basically really compete. I just invited a ton of people who then in turn invited a ton of people, and I can't stop it. So right now I can't stop because we have the multi-level referral thing going on, right? I can't stop the people who I referred from referring more people, and that's why I've been earning a lot of coins, which is impressive to say the least.
Well, we'll see if you'll appear on the other leaderboards that are coming soon, because there you actually need to play and be a little bit strategic about it. So we'll see.
Max, for the short period that you've known me, you know that I'm lazy and I'm not a tapper.
Yep.
If anything,
Exactly.
I'm using my massage gun. So that's what annoys me, is that I need to tap in order to get the chain mons, right, to discover them, and I will need them later. So I don't know. I really need to get my kids to work. I haven't shown them tap monsters yet. They've been playing all kinds of other games, so I really need to get them to play some tap monsters for me.
Yep. I mean, the massage gun is like a valid strategy, apparently, so, but yeah, having kids definitely helps in that process, just saying.
Wait for the Amazon affiliate links that we'll put up for massage guns before buying them.
Exactly.
So yeah, bug bounty. I mean, please report them. There's definitely going to be. We don't have an official bug bounty out yet, but I guess we should. But you'll definitely get a reward if there's stuff that you find. Max, what's your favorite monster of the ones, I guess, in Tap Monsters, or of the ones that conceptually exist? I don't know.
Yeah. So
let's say of the ones that people know.
Yeah, I think from the ones that exist at the moment, like the ones that are in the Champs Tapper game, I have a few favorites. So Goat Stick, for example, is one of them that almost became a meme in the existing Champs community back in the day. But from those who actually played the Champs MMO, the 3D version back in the day, in the older versions, I believe I'm a big fan of Ducko, because he's like so cute and he's like a little bit clumsy, and the animations and the whole personality of that Chainmon really shows. And we're trying to, with like everything new that we're currently building for the MMO itself, we are like really trying to push like individual personalities into each and every creature design. So expect more of those community favorites in the future.
I had read this one that Prince Paradox got that out 12 minutes ago, so it's kind of like he predicted your mind,
Yeah.
or you're just reacting to Prince Paradox on that end. I don't know. That's awesome. So okay, there's been a bunch of comments on the laptop, desktop versus phone. So on phones, it should be working mostly nicely, right? At least I haven't heard of anyone reporting issues with phones mobile on both Android and iOS. On desktop, maybe that's one of the reasons why most of the Tabber games don't allow desktop devices, but you have to play them on the mobile. I guess that could be one of the reasons. I can imagine that botting could be another reason, but if anyone wants to bot, they can also do that with Hamster or whatever else, right? Even if it's not officially available on mobile. So I don't know. It's a little bit tedious to get that right. So if any one of you who has an issue on any desktop or laptop device, please, if you could submit a support request or just talk to us about it. What we would need to know is what kind of device that is, whether you're using the latest Telegram version, whether that's in browser or using the desktop app, and the resolution of your screen, right? Because then we might have a chance of catching those. There is one particular bug that we know some people have, which which we weren't able to fix yet. But yeah, there's a bunch of things, bunch of freaky behavior with the front end, right? So definitely, the more we know, the easier it's going to be for us to catch them.
Yep, for sure.
Max, is there suggestions or feedback thread in the Chain Monsters Discord? Maybe not a thread, but maybe a channel.
There's a feature request channel. If anyone is part of the Chain Monsters Discord, if you scroll all the way down, it's on the left. So there, please, let us know anything that you have, feedback, suggestions, or bugs. Or maybe even something that you don't like. Of course, we want to hear from all of you about anything that impacts your experience. So, yeah.
Okay. That's that. Prince Paradox missed out on the refill energy button. How do you get that?
So, this is actually something that we released on Friday as like a small little update. Basically, you unlock it if you have at least one friend or peer invited, basically. And just in case it's not showing for you, it's on the crystal screen, and then when you click on boost, it should be showing in the list. If it doesn't, then you might need to reload the Telegram app, which is something that is a little bit out of our control at the moment. But yeah, then you will be able to see it. You will be able to refill your entire energy 5 times per day, which should give you the nice boost whenever you feel like you have time to tap, basically. And therefore, you will be able to discover Chainmon species faster and get more coins and more value out of it, basically.
Yes. What else do you get if you? What else is gated by you having invited at least one friend?
So yeah, at the moment there's this requirement, or this because we're trying to, of course, push the game to as many players as we can. So we said, besides the energy refill button, you are also able to discover 20 Chainmon species per day, because usually it's capped at 10. So it's of course random. So anytime you tap, you have a chance to discover a new species. And usually this is at 10, but if you have at least invited at least one friend or peer, then this will be doubled to 20. So I would say, if you have the chance, make sure to invite at least another person to benefit from those advantages.
So if you don't see the energy refill button under the boosts, and specifically for anyone who has played the game, who started playing the game on Thursday last week, right? Please go to the 3 dots on the upper right, and I think it's called Reload Page or something. Yeah. Reload Page, exactly. And that should actually load that, right? And as Max said, it's really hard. This is a Telegram caching kind of issue, right? And the caching times are set like incredibly long, so it won't auto refresh until, I don't know, what, 30 days? What was 14 days? This is incredibly long. Anyway, so because I saw a few more questions. So there is a bit of a more critical one. That's not really a question, but definitely something that we should react to, or we can react to by Forest Layer, obviously a regular on this stream. The future of crypto is advancing from clickers to tappers. Amazing. Max, what are your thoughts on the mass phenomenon in crypto right now, in crypto gaming, whatever, Web3 gaming right now, being tapper games on Telegram, which is like the simplest form of games? Like, I mean, it obviously ties into and will be. I'll have a follow up to this, but ties into like what's the reason for tap monsters to begin with, right? But what are your thoughts on tapper games and specifically on Telegram right now?
So in general, that's like a pretty fun question or comment, of course. So basically, what we are seeing is kind of like a revival of. Remember when like Facebook or other social networks came into play, and then they introduced some simple games in the beginning that then evolved over time. We now pretty much see like a revival in that area. So Telegram as like a gaming platform is a fairly new player in the gaming space, of course. And yes, clickers and tappers are not that hard to produce basically. And you need a smart design and whatever to make it really shine. But it's basically like the same as in the early days. So initially we had everything on like Farmville, for example, on Facebook. Then we had the iPhone and the smartphone launches with similar games, and now we have Telegram as yet another platform. So the cycle repeats basically. And as like a new gaming platform, which is trying to attract more developers, we are now seeing the early stages. But from what we've seen, this is just the beginning for this new platform. More like in-depth game features, as well as like potentially even maybe 3D games eventually might find their way into Telegram eventually. So that's part of the reason, of course. Well, and I guess why we did develop Tap Monsters in the first place is, well, as I mentioned in the beginning, Chamos has had like a pause of development, which thanks to Spielworks, we were able to pick up again. But still, we are early. We have redesigned a couple of like actually not a couple, but quite a lot of things. Like the entire white paper is basically brand new again, launching soon as well for Chamos specifically. And what we realized is that at the moment, of course, Telegram games are pretty hyped. So we thought, well, let's use the hype. Let's work on something that we kind of wanted to develop a little bit earlier as well. Let's push out this like side experience to introduce you guys that are coming from Wombat on the Spielberg space more to the actual like Chambers' lore and the universe. And this felt like a pretty nice way to capture both your attention as well as introducing you to the space long term, while also giving Wombat players some additional opportunities and some advantages a little bit earlier on.
I really like first of all, I find it extremely impressive that a lot of people here in the chat have actually played Facebook games, right? They were like Farmville and Mafia Wars, and I mean, if you think back about like Farmville, maybe it wasn't that bad, but Mafia Wars was that simple actually, right? And I used to play that as well, and it's crazy how that stuck in people's brains, right? Even though these games were like compared to what was possible on desktop machines back then already, obviously, were extremely simple and quote unquote stupid games, right? So if this is what it takes to actually grow a platform, then I'm happy to do it. Obviously, 2 years from now, Tapper games are not going to be the big thing anymore, right? There's going to be like that's just a kickoff for that evolution. But what I would love is imagine you could talk about Spielworks as being like the king of Telegram games, as you talk about Zynga to be the king of Facebook games back in the day, right? And then they got acquired by Take-Two for like 15 billion or something a while ago. Yeah, no problem with that. No problem with that whatsoever, right? Thanks, Peter Force. Thank you for that comment. Okay. So coins for Vince. I mean, you answered some of that already. Does this tap game have a purpose? what are we aiming for here? Ultimately, do we own these monsters that we're able to trade them? Do we have an end date for this game? I'm skeptical if this current trend will continue. Personally, I'm only doing this for my mob and the current promo, which ends on 1st of August. So maybe we can dive a little bit into, okay, what's with the assets? Why should you do that? And outside of the lore, which obviously where this makes sense, but is there anything else for kind of what's up with the lab? Is that going to be a thing in Chain Monsters and these kinds of things?
Yeah, I would say the probably one of the more primary reasons to play, especially if you enjoy the game as like a bonus, is that this will be your path to acquire the upcoming monster token for Chain Monsters prior to release. So basically, you know, we're trying to distribute the monster token to as many players as possible, and for example, your rankings not only on the current leaderboard but across all leaderboards we're going to launch shortly. They're going to affect your reward basically. Because the monster token itself, and this is also something that I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about tomorrow in the Community Connect in more detail, is basically going to be the premium currency for Chain Monsters, which will allow you to, for example, mint the actual 3D creatures that you capture and train in game, for example, as well as serving as conversion into other currencies, as well as cosmetics, limited stuff, pretty much all across the board. So this is like the first thing, the one of the only things we announced so far that makes you eligible for like an airdrop of monster token. Of course, there will be playtests for the actual Chain Monsters MMO in the future as well, which will also provide more means to potentially earn the token. But for now, this is like the only way to acquire a little bit for sure. And the Tap Monsters experience itself is like, as I said, it's like a spin-off. So for now, it serves as like as marketing and getting in touch with you, the community. But from a lore point of view, NCorp is basically NCorp, the organization that you are now a researcher, part of the research team. Basically, they are basically playing a huge part in the entire Chain Monsters universe. So they have all those labs and different towers and everything set up across the game world. And we are thinking thinking about including the Tap Monsters experience more tightly into the Chain Monsters main game. One thing that you might, that you also asked about the monsters that you collect now. So we want to bring utility from the creatures that you collect in Tap Monsters to the main game. They will not be the same creatures that you capture in the MMO, and that has a couple of different reasons, because we also worked on entirely new art style and everything. But they will serve some utility. So pretty much, if you play now, then the game gets released, you will see your collection come to life some way or another. Basically, that's still being a little bit determined, so that's I'm not sharing too much details here, but they will be usable in some form or the other in the MMO. And one thing that I almost forgot, but we included in our announcement: every player who played Tap Monsters and is at least level 10 in the Tap Monsters game, you'll also receive pretty much a welcome bonus when you then continue to play the Chain Monsters MMO later on.
It's very easy to reach level 10. It's I think I had that on the first day. So when I was still playing actively. Cool. I think that's a lot of things. And I mean, I think that is also part of kind of the changing landscape when it comes to games generally, right? That you don't have just this one thing, just this one standalone experience, but there's a lot more that you can explore and how you can interact with it. So there was also a question like, is there an end date to it, right? And maybe there is, maybe there isn't, right? It will also depend on how popular that is, and what we can weave into. I mean, I'll let you answer that, but I mean, it's not just, hey, we promote we just use that to promote Chain Monsters for like 2 months or 3 months, and then it's gone. But it might end up being something that is continuously
I mean,
tapping into the
yeah,
pun intended, into the Chain
yeah.
Monsters universe.
I mean, we did touch base a little bit earlier on potential battles, you know. So there's a lot coming into the core Tap Monsters game experience for sure. And depending on how it goes, maybe everyone is like such a big fan that it would actually end up being like not a competitor to the Champs MMO, but of course it could remain a standalone experience that is so fun and has all those incentives in that it's actually really really nice. So it could go many different ways. That's why we're also like looking for your feedback. Again, please post on Discord if you have something.
And we wouldn't mind if we can capture a generation like World of Warcraft and RuneScape did. What is the mass? I guess it means max level of the chain monsters you collect. Is there a maximum to the level?
Yes. So the chain monsters and tap monsters at the moment have a maximum level of 10. And it should take you a little bit to reach that level, because there are like 38 different species, basically. Well, 19 species and then 19 additional chroma variants. So this is going to keep you busy. But again, what you have seen in the first few days of our launch, the game is constantly evolving, and there's still quite a lot that we want to push to the game every few days now. So yeah, that might also change once we have the other systems in place. You'll see.
Level 10. How many do you need to upgrade a level? How many duplicates?
I need to check the numbers again, because we did change that a little bit prior to launch. But basically every level you get you need double the amount of before. So like from 1 to 2 you need 2 duplicates, and then 4 and so on, basically. So it's a lot. I think it's technically a lot, but we will introduce additional ways to get Chainmons as well.
So just quoting your numbers, if it's 2, then getting to level 10 is 2 to the power of 10, or pretty much 2 to the power of 10, right? So that's 1024.
Yeah,
probably
so,
technically 1023. And at a rate, so that's times 19 if you haven't unlocked the chromas. How do you unlock the chromas? Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So that's times 19. So that's about, let's say, 20,000 catches that you have to make. So the current rate at the current max of 20 per day, that would mean it would take you like 3 years of tapping to get all of them to level 10. Okay.
Yep.
Sounds promising. D-Nights, we had that question very early on. Yes, that's something that we're working on. Kevin Kev is saying, to be honest, you guys need better marketing. Woofy Tap got 150,000 users in a week. Tap Monsters is such a better game and could go far. Yes. So we've had that debate a lot, internally and also to a certain extent externally. What do you like? How do you want this to happen? Right? We don't have 150K users yet, but I'm very sure that we will. There's always certain things to marketing, but for us, it's important. It's more important to have a steady growth curve than to have 150K and that basically then flattening out, right? So what we are looking at much more than what the absolute number of players is, or total number of players or whatever, is how many people do people invite, right? What's our referral rate? What's our virality, and so on? And because that's going to be a lot more important long term, right? And also, what is the What is the retention? Obviously, like talking to people who play the game about metrics, how we measure them. It's always a bit weird, but we also look a lot into okay, how can we make people come back and play the next day and stuff like that, right? And that to us is right now in the early days is more important than having a huge number. Obviously, Woofy Tab had a lot of people coming from the Woofy community, right? And that's great and that's awesome. But the question there is, do they actually make it outside of their community, right? And this is what we want to reach. So that's why we're not really comparing ourselves with Woofy Tab. Woofy Tab is great. There's a lot of rewards to be gained from there. I tapped, but there's nothing else that you can do in there but tapping, right? At least at this stage. So we love Woofy Tab. We have no quibble with them, obviously, because we love Woof or Woofy. But we're doing our own game with our own approach. But yeah, definitely there's always room for improvement when it comes to marketing and growth and so on. Do you have a number of how many active players there currently are? I don't. Like today, how many people? I don't know how many people have played today, right? So I don't have the number on top of my head. So we don't right now have the total number of players like Woofy Tab. If you go to leaderboard, you can see the total number of players. We don't currently want to play kind of the numbers game in terms of, hey, look, we've got 20 million in the first day, whatever, right? Because that it only incentivizes creating fake traffic. Let's put it that way. And obviously there's a lot of that stuff going on in the space, and we don't just want to fall into the same thing that, oh yeah, let's try and get up the most impressive number so we can talk about it by just basically buying a service, whatever, right? We could basically tell you any number, of course, but that's not what we want. And also we're not kind of buying cheap Telegram followers or whatever. That's not what we do, right? So as soon as we feel ready, we'll basically start publishing the total player numbers, and that's gonna be it. What I liked was the discussion about Max secretly being the leader of Team Rocket. Is there an equivalent of Team Rocket in Chain Monsters, in the Chain Monsters lore? And also there's been a few follow-ups to this, that Pedro is Jesse, Max is James, Matt is Meowth, Team Spurix taking off the speed of light, and I'm allowed to be Ash or Olga's Misty. If you ask my kids, I'm actually Pikachu. But is there a Team Rocket?
So there are basically just a little bit of background info. There are basically two factions in Chain Monsters. One is N-Corp, or as you might know them from the Tab Monsters game, Niha Fabrication Corp. And then there are the Shadows. So if you compare it to the storyline of not storyline, but the overall structure of Pokemon, for example, then we would consider N-Corp to be Team Rocket, basically, except that N-Corp is basically already in power, and the opposing faction, the Shadows, which are supposedly using illegal means to acquire replicators to capture Chain Monsters, etc. They are their counterpart, basically. And in Chain Monsters, you will basically be able to decide which faction you would like to join eventually at some point in the story. So that's the official answer.
Just a quick reminder, I'll get to the non-Tab Monsters, Chain Monsters questions once we're done with Max. So please be patient or repost them later once we get to that. I'm still putting that on the list. Is this tomorrow meeting also on Twitch? Yes, it's also going to be on Twitch. So D Knights is coming up with cool ideas. When can I use my monsters to invade a neighboring area and impose my own ideals, whether they like it or not? So I like that. It's not just about invading somebody and whatever, just taking over the territory. It's about impose my own ideals. So, I mean, that's kind of a PvP, more like MMO strategy kind of part, right? But that would be so cool if you could basically just rate others and then tell them, now your opinion is that you actually like chocolate cake. I don't know. But what I actually like is the ideas about VIP, like Wombat VIP bonuses to actually count towards higher chances of rolling a good Chainmon or a Chroma, or I don't know, or also being able to use the Chainmons in Dungeon Master Dungeon Worlds. That will maybe be possible as soon as they become NFTs. Do we have any? No, we probably don't have any kind of timeline for anything like that. But like
I
Chainmons becoming
mean,
NFTs.
I mean, we do have the Wombat wallet connection in Tap Monsters already, of course, and this is, most of you might guess, obviously going to be the route forward for Chain Monsters as well once it goes live again. So yeah, and one thing that of course, you know, we as Brewworks are now trying to push is, of course, the interoperability feature between not only our own games but also games outside of the Spielworks ecosystem. So I'm pretty sure that, yeah, we're going to see some cross-project utility eventually. So one way or another, basically. And you have and you have now the opportunity to give us feedback, raise ideas, anything, you know, just let us know. We are here to listen.
So maybe you could mint them as an NTT, non-transferable NFT. For mining power bonuses, obviously, folks here would love to get some edge on Dungeon Master in exchange for playing Tap Monsters. So that is awesome. Obviously, Zuller is asking, "Hi Zuller, can we call the NCorp SEC?" Is that
I'm not. I don't think the. I don't think that NCorp has like a public telephone number that you are able to call right now. But who knows? Maybe there will be one. But yeah, not right now.
Hack himself is actually asking or suggesting we need to have wax DAO stakes that affect the game. Telegram games are using wax NFTs and wax DAO staking to give bonuses in Telegram games. So yeah, that is a big debate in general, because wax people would like to see more people get onto wax. Well, that's for certain, right? But so there's one caveat, and we would love that too, right? And that's why we're right now with the Wombat Connect, we're already doing that. We already had a few thousand people actually onboarding Wombat through Tap Monsters and make a Wax account, right? So that's awesome. And that will definitely long-term drive people into Wax. But what we need to be careful about is to see, like, at the same time as I think it was Kevin Kev asking about marketing, right, and basically growing the game, to not restrict it too much by actually requiring people to do XYZ on this particular blockchain, whatever blockchain it is, right? Even if it's Wax, and even if a lot of people already have a Wax account, this, if we require that, if we make that a hard requirement, this will drastically reduce the kind of conversion, right? The likelihood of people actually playing through that. So we don't want to be too invasive with like promoting a particular product or blockchain or whatever in Tap Monsters for until we have a large audience and we could basically say, okay, look, it's worth doing this, right? Because we don't want to kind of make it too hard for any outside people to play the game as a standalone experience. So that will be a step-by-step kind of thing. but it's never going to be kind of required to have whatever played Dungeon Master or whatever, hold NFTs. But yeah, something like Wax DAO is taking. Yeah, why not? I mean, definitely can think about some stuff like that. One question besides the level 10: what are benefits of leveling up? So the level 10 requirement to get a starting bonus. Is there anything else that the lab level helps you with?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it was referring to the monster levels. It could be both. Maybe I'll just answer both. So the lab at the moment is just like an indicator, and again, yeah, those who reach level 10 are going to unlock welcome bonus, welcome gift in Chamus's MMO later. With all the like new upcoming game features, like for example battling as well, we're introducing more gating. So you might require like a certain lab level before you can upgrade a specific addition to your lab, basically. With the clans, in order to prevent spam, we might have like a small scale minimum player level or lab level that is required before you can join the clan. So it comes into play there. And we're, of course, constantly evolving and reviewing and looking into what we can do to make basically every single mechanic more meaningful and interconnected with each other. So, yeah. And just in case you were referring to the monsters with the max level of 10, every level in that your Chainmon collection reaches, you're basically tripling your passive earn per hour for that species. So if you have, for example, Chipleaf, one of the first Chainmons ever, you're going to go from, I think, 100 coins per hour to 300, 900, etc. with every level you rise.
Yeah, but also you'll definitely need them to be in good shape if you ever want to invade somebody's area with your Chainmons and impose your ideals and ideas on others. That is a very good one from Mazbaz. Which chain is Chain Monsters running on or will be running on? There obviously is a bit of history to this on a few, let's say, blockchains. Maybe you want to give a little bit of a rundown there. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. So there's actually quite an exciting backstory to it, because we initially started as like a prototype on Ethereum, like actual Ethereum, not layer 2, just Ethereum layer 1 in January 2018. And then, because back then
That was early.
That was super early. Like it was actually I'm a little bit too proud of it, but it was actually the first Unity-based game or prototype or experience that was running in your browser, connected to your Ethereum wallet. You had to set transactions to move, etc. It was experimental, but super exciting for many people in the early space back then.
This should be remembered like something like CryptoKitties, right? That this should actually be a thing that this is remembered as early day adoption of gaming on blockchain.
Yep. I think there were like a total of 4 projects that were utilizing the NFT standard back in the day. So one of them was, of course, CryptoKitties, and then Tulips. But we basically launched this prototype just prior to one of the crypto crashes back in the day. So we launched, and then the market crashed, and the attention got away, and then we missed our spot in the Hall of Fame, I would say, unfortunately. But yeah. It's always good to remember and take credit where credit's due. Yeah, but basically on Ethereum, we, of course, back in the day, we had scaling issues. Like we realized, well, this is not going to be feasible for an actual real-time multiplayer battle game. So we said, well, we are looking for alternatives. Back then, something like Wax, for example, was like super early. I think it wasn't even introduced back then. But we were in touch with the CryptoKitties people from Dapper Labs. We made a deal. We moved to the Flow blockchain. We were the first project to actually launch there, besides NBA Top Shots back then. And yeah, but in case you've ever been on Flow, there have been some technical issues. Unfortunately, when we joined, like we had the early advantage. We were like one of the first to be there. At the same time, there was like no real developer tools. There was not really like even a block explorer. So we had to build a lot of stuff ourselves, which slowed down the development process quite a lot. And also worked very differently than Ethereum, for example. So after 1 or 2 years there, we looked back at the chains and we noticed, hey, immutable layer 2 is actually more more following the traditional Ethereum based EVM model. So we transitioned there and pretty much created the early access version, which then launched on Epic Game Store, iOS and Android last year. But unfortunately this was all like part of shortly before we had to pause the development, so timing was a little bit off. But yeah, so we moved from chain to chain. We always try to find the one that worked best, that is actually able to fulfill our needs. And at the moment, we are still looking at all the different chains out there. We know that Spielworks, Wombat, Atomic Hub have a lot of experience with different chains. All of them have different advantages. Some of them have also disadvantages. So, and with a game like Chainmonsters, we need to take all of them into consideration. So it's still an ongoing process. But yeah, that's all I can share for now.
So there's a possibility of Chainmonsters being multi-chain, right? There is a possibility of that not being the case. There's a possibility of, Max, I'll ask a different question. What's your favorite blockchain right now? Unrelated, totally unrelated.
Yeah, no. So I've been, because I prefer to be in the game design side, but I have like a technical background and did all of the prototyping and the different blockchain implementations back in the day. So I've worked on a couple of different blockchains, not only again EVM based, but also some others. And I feel like that the actual Flow blockchain, from a pure design point of view, the way it was structured from a security point of view, especially, could have had quite a lot of potential, which it didn't fulfill with other problems and issues, unfortunately. I like the way that Ethereum has always been like one of the main forces to push like many kind of like both user features as well as stability and scalability features. But at the same time, it's still not enough, right? It can still not support anywhere as much players or people as most of the other chains out there. So at the moment, I'm not really satisfied with just one singular blockchain yet. Let's put it this way.
It's tough, right? Back in the day, and more than 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, you only had Ethereum, and that was bad in terms of scalability. And now Ethereum is still not scaling, and whatever else is out there is still, there's no ideal solution. It's crazy, like 6.5 years in.
Yep.
But that's when that's why when EOS actually launched, we took a close look at EOS back in the day, right, back in 2018, because it felt a lot better. And again, a lot of unfulfilled promises there, unfortunately, from a kind of ecosystem point of view, at least. Okay, unless there's any other questions to Max, the most important one that needs to be sorted is what Shinpaichi is bringing up, because that's an ongoing debate about Dungeon Master and Wombat. We have things that are kind of started out with liquids, right? Most of them are actually these little vials of liquid that famously are called wombatiums, right? And they're spelled like this: WOMBATIUM. right? So pretty much every guest or anyone who comes on here gets the question from somebody. In this case, it's Shimpaichi. How would you pronounce Wombatium? Would you say Wombatium like I do, or would you say Wombatium like some of the people do? Like what feels more natural to you?
So to be honest, when I read this question, I was reading it wrong because, in case anyone knows, there's always been an ongoing debate around NVIDIA graphics cards because they have the TI basically after some of their top models. So I was reading it in a very different pronunciation.
Uh-huh.
So to me, there's no question here. I would call it Womba TI or Womba Tai, but not with UM at the end, basically. So.
Okay, well that is mandatory, right? You have to say the as well. So Wombatium or Wombatium, what feels better?
Well, in this case, I would say Wombatium.
Thank you.
Is that
Appreciate that.
the
Thanks.
correct answer?
Well, we're trying to get that into the Oxford Dictionary so that there's
Oh,
an official statement. Um, uh, Hack himself. I'm not sure I can decode this. One thing I can only see being done by said method is like raising your energy regeneration cap from 3 units, 3 energy per second. In my own delve, it's not worth to tap.
well, tapping is the only way to discover Chaemon species, and tapping, that's why I mentioned the tap power upgrades and the energy capacity earlier. Those two are going to be more relevant besides obtaining the early stage energy, the early stage currency coin from the crystal when we have the sword and battle features coming. So I do agree that the moment, of course, it might not sound like it's so much worth to upgrade that, but it will be on a same like fair playing field later.
I love how the chat is debating whether or not your answer was right or according to their to what they wanted to hear. So Masba is saying I won. Lexilegs is saying that I cheated by basically priming you on Wombatium, and that's what it should be because who came up with this? It was Sasha and myself back in the day, and we should have primed everybody with the pronunciation Wombatium, not Wombatium. We never said Wombatium, right? So everyone should be saying it the way we say it because we came up with it, right? So it's like, how do you pronounce whatever? How do you pronounce NCorp, right? You like the way the creators have intended it to be pronounced, right?
Yeah, we should make a GIF out of this conversation.
It's gonna be it's gonna end up being a meme classic.
Yeah.
This is not the case. I am so often not right, and I just had a discussion with Max today about me wanting stuff versus the team.
Adrian is not always right.
I'm not always right, but on this one, because invented here syndrome, right? Anyway, because there's no other questions, it seems to Max, except for this. Shinpaichi is saying you're killing him. Okay, that's good. That's not a problem. Yeah, thanks a lot, Max. I let you go. We can start kind of the avalanche of other comments and questions here in the chat. Anyone who forgot their question or you come up with something new or more or whatever, you should tune in tomorrow. Yeah, now pretty much at this time, a bit earlier, to the Community Connect for Chain Monsters / Tap Monsters. It's gonna be awesome. I will try to watch. I'm pretty sure I have a call around that time, but anyway, It's gonna be really, really cool. So thanks, Max, for showing your face to the chat here, and I hope I will be able to welcome you back at some point when we have a lot more stuff. I'm pretty sure that by next week there's already going to be like 2, 3, 4, 5 more features that we'll have in the game that will be up for discussion and feedback and stuff, right? So maybe I'm exaggerating, but thanks, Max.
We'll
see you soon.
Thank you, and have a good time, everyone. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Most of you, all of you.
No, not hopefully. Not hopefully.
Yep.
That is an order.
Yep. From NCorp.
by the NCorp CEO.
Exactly.
Whatever.
All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, Max.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, if there's any other questions that you have, Chris Inglingstad has asked 40 minutes ago, will there be a rotating womb for newer items and the new slots in Dungeon Master? So rotate slot blends. If that's what you're asking, then we don't intend to do this at this stage. Maybe we should, unless there's a lot of kind of feedback from you. Then CryptoBG/Deck Crypto was asking, is your support working? When are you going to answer me when you're going to solve the glitch about the wild airdrop? We didn't account for my wombat staking. I can't tell you exactly. I've seen a bunch of messages about these kinds of issues. Not a bunch, a few. So the support should be on it and answer you, and you should actually get your points, even if that's retrospective. Damn, Wombatium, when MP for sunflowers in the mouth. So I guess unfortunately I don't have Pedro now, so I could blame it on him. I still can blame it on him, but at least he would be able to defend himself. So I suppose that's going to happen with the mid-season. And the amount? Didn't we say that we won't talk about this? But yeah, no, I don't know. Sorry, I can't tell you. Shadow boxes. No. They are not there for staking. There's a little bit of a history. There's a little bit of a history behind this. So if you don't know that, Baby Nice Day, before the shadow boxes, there was a thing called Shadow Pack. And the Shadow Pack, before that was there, we used to have dark matter packs. And now the problem with dark matter packs was that some people had so many of them that they would just basically use them for staking and be done with it, right? And basically have a ton of mining power. So that was considered maybe not necessarily just unfair, but this was being exploited a bunch by people essentially staking a number of, or allegedly, we don't know, right? We couldn't prove that, let's put it that way. But allegedly staking a bunch of Walmart tokens, like million, and farming dark matter packs that then could be staked by a single account, which is what happened. So what we did was back then split up the dark matter pack function into having the miner that gives you 10,000 MP. That's a non-transferable, right? So that cannot be exploited effectively. And the pack, the pack is not stakeable and it doesn't give you MP. It's just used for actually opening and getting the items and using the items. So that is the reason why shadow boxes generally cannot be staked. They're not meant to be staked. The problem was people never opened dark matter packs because they had such high mining power that they were basically always be used for staking. Oh, Mortal Wombats still has 2 dark matter packs. I don't know how many I have, actually. Coins for Vince. You don't want to let this go, right? I think the pronunciation Wombadium follows typical English pronunciation rules for similar suffixes like ium, like helium, sodium. The b in bat has a short vowel sound, which would make the pronunciation less fluid and less typical for a word ending in ium. So you're saying that you find Wombadium more fluid than Wombatium. Is that what you're saying, Coins for Vince? Because I would disagree. But who am I? Who am I? Did Pedro update the MP for the older packs yet? If I recall correctly, he told me yes, but I haven't checked, so I don't want to lie because I'm on the record. How do you pronounce this? Caltium? Sorry. Any ideas about new things in Warhammer Dungeon Master in future seasons? So, right now, we're focusing on clan gameplay. That means additional clan buildings as of now. That is pretty advanced already. And we will be able to present you with a concept. Well, the implementation is pretty advanced already, but the concept we will publish, I hope, as early as next week. Maybe I can motivate Pedro to come on stream and actually talk about it, right? What is this going to look like exactly? Maybe we'll have something written about it, because then we will also have new NFTs out about those, or to support those, and those you will be getting the same way, right? So that's kind of the biggest thing. We also have the kind of PvP mode in mind for clans, like clan raids, and we have the creator portal, which was prioritized behind the clan features by the voters. We have the slots, the presets for equipment, and a bunch of other things that I cannot recall, but there's a bunch of things we have for Dungeon in store for Dungeon Master. But Pedro would be really the better person to. As a native English speaker that also knows Latin, Vince's point is strong. I don't disagree. Maybe it is. Wombatium rather than Wombadium. Wombatium. Okay. Calcium. Yeah. Calcium. Tapsium. Tapsium. You say tomato, I say tomato. I would never say the other thing. So, just like I would never say Wombadium or Wombadium or well, I would only say Wombatium forever. Will the well get deeper? Sorry, there was another question by Hack himself, but I'll get to that soon. Will the well get deeper, and will there be more tasks in future seasons? So, not so. If let's put it that way, if we make the well deeper, we will have to compensate for this by actually adding different ways of earning rope. The thing is that we don't want to just keep adding more tasks that you perform one time, but instead we want to have more like a daily or weekly task thing going on, right? So more like what the stuff that you have in other games, so that it's a bit more interesting and you can basically just progress through it in a day or two. There would be no way, right? So that's the idea. So the well should get deeper, but then we'll add more things that you can do. Prince Paradox. In Latin, is a declension of a noun and of an adjective. So, for example, ferrum equals meaning iron, or a sodium would be soda-like. So, wombatium words denote names derived from something that already exists, while words refer to an original name of a material. Theoretically, anyway, as the aluminum example shows, the people that named these aren't necessarily consistent. It's so cool that you're bringing this up, Prince Paradox, because this is what it is supposed to be, right? It's not the original, like ferrum, right? It's derived from wombats. So now, there's a follow-up. So it's not num versus nyum, but versus yum. Like titanium equals titan-like equals titanium, not titanium. And zirconium, not zirconium, and actinium, not actinium. But to confirm the naming inconsistency, tantalum is named after the Greek mythological figure of Tantalos, so really should definitely be called tantalium. And now you know. Well, this is all really great, Prince Paradox. It would be so great if we could have that same thing with the example of. So what you're trying to tell me is essentially that if titanium is titan-like and you pronounce it titanium, so it's like titanium, right? Then it's wombatium, so you should be pronouncing it wombatium, but that's never the case, right? Like titanium, you don't say titan, you say titan, so it's titanium, right? And we're no more more educated than we were before, except for understanding where the yum is coming from. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Okay. When's next Dungeon Worlds update? I just spoke to Pedro about it today, and we're still continuing the work on the concept side. And I really hope that we can publish this next week or the week after. Will you be giving away any of your airdrop Wolfie to today's Twitchy Tights winners? Let's just say yes. Some. Let's say 10 million Wolf. So, should we play some Twitchy Tights? Can we have the golden key and NTT on board of having the same collection boosted every season? Yeah, that's something that we were thinking about. The problem with this is that they would never get burned, so we would have to make a new template every season, obviously. But that's something that we were considering to make it so that I mean, yeah, with the key being the thing and not the ingredients to blend the key, right? Obviously, that would make a difference. But then again, you can transfer the key, but you could also transfer the whatever you basically blend from it. Whatever you blend it from, right? So, not sure whether that would actually solve the problem, but definitely something that would be kind of nice if the person who actually creates the achievement basically gets lucky, for instance, right? Would be the same person who then gets to decide. Which, yeah, would be kind of interesting. I don't know if that person would then actually go on and choose a different collection, but yeah. Yeah, I guess if this was an entity, you would have to burn it. Thanks, Coins for Vince, but that's why I said it's Wombatium. That's exactly my thinking. Sasha and I always called it Wombatium. Current market 10 million. Yeah, I mean, of the 60 or 70 million that I got, I don't want to throw out everything at once, right? But it's quite a lot. That being said, maybe we should play around with Twitchy Tides. What you think? Because there's no other open questions. What the hell just happened to Bitcoin while we were in the stream? It was kissing the 70K, and now we're down to what, below 68? What the hell? Anyway, join this round of Twitchy Tides. Oh, by the way, speaking of Twitchy Tides, I don't want to spoil anything, but there may be something going on with Twitchy Tides same time next week. Maybe. So stay tuned. Chucky's hearing whatever they want to hear. A Womfish is coming soon. BTC has a 2.5K margin of movement for the last month. Great time to flip. Flip what? Great time to flip up or down, or great time for investors to flip their BTC. Not sure whether I understand correctly, but yeah, it's been. I mean, on one hand, short-term volatility is actually pretty high, right? If you saw the weekend before and during and after Trump's speech at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, amazing volatility on such a short-term scale. So yeah, not sure what to make of the market just yet. I mean, obviously, Wednesday is the Fed decision. I think right now, according to the CME Fed Watch tool, we have a 100. I've never seen that. A 100% likelihood of that being a hold, basically. Keeping rates steady. Oh no, it has changed. It's now, maybe there was a mistake. I've never seen 100% as well. Now it's 94.8%. is according to a FedWatch tool. So that's what the market is essentially pricing in. Why track Bitcoin when I see that Wombat seems to track its losses and gains based on ETH? I mean, yeah, we have no liquidity against Bitcoin. I'm just looking at Bitcoin from a grander scheme of things, right? From an overall market perspective, Wombat. I was going to say Wombat is more important to the market than ETH. Bitcoin is more important to the market than ETH when it comes to overall market sentiment. That's basically that. Also play more Bitcoin miner. The Fed are going to lower rates. It's clear. Like this upcoming Wednesday, you sure, Hack? Coins for Vince. With this collaboration with Twitchy Tides, do DM players get additionally some perks? Well, you folks should not always expect everything to be like, okay, you do this one thing and it gets you like 1,000 things, right? Sometimes things are just things. So if you get one thing, it will do one thing. That being said, we haven't decided on the final design or kind of the economics of this, and depending on that, we may add some possibilities. So there has been a few questions. Oh no, hang on. Prince Paradox, what about term limits for the key? Like you can only be the key redeemer so many times for your lifetime, or have a cooldown for a season. Yeah, that might be an idea. Originally, we hadn't planned that like at all. We said, okay, let's just leave this up to kind of the quote-unquote market, so to the players. But if it gets too boring, I mean, again, there's no reason to believe that there might be any other collection selected by the Overlord. But yeah, totally something that I'll take back to Pedro so that we can discuss. Type monsters is pretty fun. Is that you, Robert? Did you overtake me? I don't want to be top 3. That's okay. If anything, I'll get my points revoked or not counted towards any airdrop anyway. Well, I can't play. What can't you play? But Jerome Powell already spoke, given hits, saying keeping the rate has been hurting us. Damn right he is, right? It's kind of funny how, I mean, but it would still be a massive surprise because they weren't hinting at cutting rates this upcoming FOMC meeting. But over the last years, most of the central banks were basically too late to react, right? And it just feels, not knowing kind of the actual, I don't know what the actual kind of situation in the U.S. economy is, right? I'm not there, but or what it feels like living in the U.S., right? But this, like, it looks like if you want to reach a 2% inflation rate, and it's currently at 3%, then keeping the rates a lot higher than 3% is going to do the trick eventually, but it's you will overshoot for sure, right? This is what it feels like, especially as some effects like this when the real interest rate is or compared to the inflation rate, if there is a large disparity, this will kind of drive inflation at some point instead of reducing inflation. So that's a little bit of a paradox. So Trump needs to win so corporations keep their 34%. It's all because Trump 2020 tax reform is ending. So if he doesn't win, everyone's got to pay 5% more taxes from work to corporate. Yeah, so obviously after Trump's speech on Saturday, I would think that probably a lot of Bitcoiners have gotten more supportive of Trump, especially as Kamala didn't actually bother showing up, right? But definitely, it has helped the Democrats that Biden stepped down. I mean, this was whoa. There's been 2 questions by Shane O'Mac and Coins for Vince regarding Play Token. So, that's what he said, right? That's what he said. That would be fantastic. Sorry to say that, but sorry, Gary, but Gary Gensler's stance on regulating crypto has been ridiculous. So I think that would be a great thing. Well, Kamala Harris should also do the same thing. Anyway, so coming back to Play, so the official timeline is that we communicated was like Q4, right? That's what's in the light paper, but Q4 meaning that we want to do that early, very, very early in Q4, meaning more towards like October, right? Now we've been getting a ton of feedback and we should be faster. And internally, we're also planning a lot faster. But we can't guarantee it because there's a few external factors that we have no control over it. That's why we wanted to allow us a little bit more time just in case something goes wrong so that we don't say, hey, we're going to be delivering on this and then we're pushing it back, right? So we didn't want to be too optimistic because it's not in our sole hands. That's why the timeline hasn't changed just yet, but we are working on it. There's a lot of moving parts that we're like basically checking off one by one, like staking, like questions that I've been getting last week a lot, right? What happens to my vaulted tokens? What happens to my stake tokens? To my staking rewards? Yada yada yada, right? That will all be covered, right? That's why with these moving parts and with multiple chains to be taken care of, with bridges and exchanges and whatnot, that all needs to, and market makers, for instance, all of them need to be involved in that. So that is taking a little bit of time for preparation. I missed 10% rates. 10%, no, that's not good. Yeah, obviously at 10%. So after a longer duration of high interest rates, like we were seeing them in the 80s, for instance, right? Obviously, houses are way, way cheaper than they are now after basically 15 years of extremely low to zero rates, right? So obviously, right now it's super, super tough for home buyers because it's high prices after 15 years of cheap money and then high interest rates or fairly high interest rates, and that's obviously horrible. So right now you can't. There's no way you can save your way to a house, I think, anywhere in the world, right? Because housing is just so expensive. But yeah, it's just a totally different economy if you have 10% rates and a lot of things are generally cheap, right? But I don't remember what this. I was too young to basically remember what times were like when I didn't remember super high inflation. But when my dad or my parents took out a mortgage to build a house, and that was what, early 90s, interest rates they were paying were like 8%, right? So I don't know whether this was related to inflation, like hard inflation back then, or where this came from. But it must have been. But I don't remember super high inflation, right? Like what, 8%, 7% inflation? I don't remember that. But again, maybe I was too young. I like how Germany does it. So few people live on credit. Well, there's a good and a bad, right? More people utilizing credit would mean more investment, right? So Germans are generally like on the more scared end when it comes to buying stuff on credit, right? Yeah, which means that you basically buy what you can afford on one hand, but at the same time, it means that a lot of people don't basically don't spend more than what they have in cash, right? Which in low economy situations might not be might not be the best thing, and the same goes for, or a similar thing goes for companies. And then again, there are no kind of credit card interest rates like in the US, right? In the US, it's like the interest rates that you pay on your credit cards are so insanely high. Even if like the base interest rate, like the Fed rate is really low, right? You still pay like what, 15, 18, 20% on your credit card bills, which is entirely ridiculous. And I think that's like having these kind of casual consumer credits being priced that high. This is what is really, really bad for the society. Generally, buying things on credit maybe isn't, but these high interest rates basically perpetuate so much that you can never get out of your debt, right? And I think this is what's ludicrous. Are Trump's plans to end democracy helping Bitcoin because people want a decentralized currency in such a situation? I'm not so sure about Trump's potential plans to end democracy, but him basically saying that he wants to put up a Federal Reserve in Bitcoin, just like there has been in gold back in the day, right? And nowadays it's all cash and bonds and stuff, right? So it's essentially things that can be created more of. So nothing that's deflationary or incredibly stable. So that is a bold thing, and this is definitely happening, helping Bitcoin, definitely. Right? There's no way around it. Whether or not everything else that Trump's saying is helping Bitcoin, I don't know, but this definitely is. After America took dollars off gold, it was all a debt-based state. I mean, you can tell from the debt, and you can tell from the M2 money supply, for instance. Yeah, totally. Not just homeowners or home buyers, but also a lot of existing homeowners. That's why a lot of existing homeowners will be forced to sell, right? Because they can't afford their mortgage anymore. If they had no fixed interest rates, or they had their fixed interest rates are basically running out. talking about crypto is great in this stream. Talking about politics is going to get you banned. I don't think. No, you're not going to get banned by talking about politics, right? I mean, I don't necessarily appreciate talking about politics because I don't want to be choosing sides. I don't want to be saying, okay, this is good and this is bad if I don't know about the things, right? So if you ask me about whether Trump or Harris should win, I won't tell you this is my opinion because I don't know, right? I can reflect on this on certain aspects, right? So um, if Trump wins, that's going to be good for Bitcoin. This I think goes without saying at this stage, right? That's kind of, maybe I'm just stating the obvious, but don't ask me on Russia versus Ukraine and who I root for, or Israel versus or in Gaza or Hamas, whatever. Don't ask me on these things because it's really, really hard to have an opinion that doesn't offend anyone. Right, and I don't want to, like, I'm not here to offend anyone. To basically say, "Oh, your opinion is wrong," or I root for this person or for this party because I don't know. Typically, I don't know enough about the situation to actually have an educated opinion. I wonder who would hold the seed phrases for the Federal Reserves. I mean, they are having, like, that's not in the Fed, right? But they have the American government has what 237,000 or something Bitcoin that have been seized. So somebody needs to be holding them, and if they do it the way the Saxony state did it, maybe I don't even know. Uh, uh, mm. I wonder if we're going back to 2008. In the US, they stopped doing variable rates because of the issues in 2008. Okay, I don't know. But in Europe, that's definitely a thing. In Canada, rates on the loan are redone every 8 years, even on a 20-year loan. Okay, that's interesting. So in Europe, there's basically two models, let's say, right? One is you get a flexible rate, totally flexible right from the start. And the other is you get a fixed rate for a certain amount of time, like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, something like that. And then the rest would be flexible, or you would renew a fixed term. I assume, Adrian, she's for Germany. Like, when it comes to sports, for sure. Right now, I don't live in Germany, right? So I definitely don't cheer for everything that's going on in Germany. I don't agree with everything in Germany, right? So it's like it's also easier to talk about that. Then again, I have, like, for instance, if you would ask me about the political situation in Portugal, I can't give you an educated answer there either. I can just talk to people, and sometimes I'm surprised. If one token goes to $10, I will never work a single day in my life. If one token goes to $10, I will probably still work because there's going to be so many things to do. But I mean, we can all do this together, or at least help it, right? So let's try and get there. I would have voted for Steinmeier. Steinmeier, now being the president, I couldn't have voted for him. But back in the day, when it comes to when he was the candidate for becoming chancellor, I mean, even then, Germany doesn't have a direct democracy, right? So you don't vote for your favorite politician, like top running for president or chancellor or whatever. But you vote for the parties, and the parties vote for the parties in the parliament vote for the chancellor. So still like that. Rising Dragons. Whenever I'm on my phone, I have a bug when I see the item sold history based on NFTs sold newest. It automatically chooses price lowest on scrolling. Is that known to the team? Huh? No. Which chain is this, Rising Dragons? This sounds odd, and I'm using Atomic Hub on my phone a lot. So I've never seen that, but please let me know which blockchain that is. As much as the trend is for Trump, don't underestimate election machineries from Democrats. They are very organized and persistent to encourage their bases to vote. Yeah, I think it's now with basically Biden out, there's also that basically has cut away one reason for to a lot of people to not vote for the Democrats, right? Because they were basically just thinking that Biden's probably not going to last. Read 1984 by George Orwell. How do you feel about Wombat hitting all-time low? I obviously don't feel great about the Wombat token hitting or performing badly, right? And there's two things, two perspectives to that for me. Is one is the urge of immediately trying to do something about it on a short term, so that we fix that situation right away, versus not letting myself be influenced by the day-to-day price up and down too much, but to focus on the things that we believe in, right? So I check the price of Wombat more often than I probably should for my own mental health, right? But I do it a lot, and I always have to pull myself back towards, okay, what is the things that really matter and that are right, versus what are things that would basically just cause short-term increases or decreases or whatever. So that is hard. That is a difficult thing. So that's Atomic Hub Wax. Okay. I'll check that. So can we get more aggressive on burns? Will that help prop up the value? Yes and no. And more no than yes. So the pure fact that we're burning tokens won't make that much of a difference, because that's not helping economically, right? And I was on a call with an investor last week. It was very, very good. Took like 2 hours or so to talk about stuff, and like a big investor. And we spoke about burns, and because I basically keep asking that question to anyone, advisors and investors and whatnot. Like, should we be doing more? Sorry, there was a fly. Should we be doing more burns, or how should we react to that? So what he said was, you should be doing more buybacks. Okay, that I get, right? Because that can directly influence the price of the token if we direct more tokens to more of the cash flow that we generate towards buying back tokens. But whether or not you burn them after buying them back, that is a different story, because and I'm quoting / paraphrasing. This is not what I necessarily think, but I liked it, and it stuck with me. Is that what burning does after you bought back is it basically just reduces the amount or the number of options that the team has with those tokens, right? To none. There's nothing else we can do after we've burnt them, right? So if there's a strong urge to burn these tokens, that basically means there's a certain amount of distrust that the team will be handling those tokens properly, right? So because if the team can come up with better solutions to how to utilize these tokens, maybe hand them out to people or use them for financing to grow the company or whatever, then those shouldn't be burned, right? So anyone basically asking for burn would more or less directly distrust the team of them being able to handle the tokens properly. And yeah, like I'm not saying that this is the only right way of seeing it. It just stuck with me because it was a different perspective from somebody whose interested is to actually see the token value move up, right? So I find it very interesting, right? But yeah, in general, if we could, like, our plans is to buy back more tokens, and that should prop up the value. But the burn itself, it doesn't. Yeah, that. Okay. Let's have this one last question by Shinpaichi. What are you working on right now, Adrian? I guess that this is to myself, right? So until last week, I've been involved in Tap Monsters, of course, right? So that is there was a priority. We wanted to get it out. I think it's a really cool game. We get a lot of questions, a lot of positive feedback, a lot of also positive feedback from partners. So that's good. I'm also working on the token merge. Right, that's my top priority right now, to get that done and get everyone believe in it and get more details out, be more transparent, set up the company in a way that it can execute the best possible way on the things that are new and at hand and so on. Right, so that is my priority right now. That is what I'm working on most of the time. Coming from Wolf community, our values from burning nearly 16% of total circulation after first airdrops. I would actually contradict this. I don't think that this is from burning, right? These are tokens that have never entered circulation, so they are not getting burned. They're not getting taken out of circulation. They just never enter, right? Or most of them, at least. So I think that the Woofy team has actually done an outstanding job on creating a movement around Woofy, right? And a lot of that has come from the Solana and Base communities specifically, right? So I think that has done more. My personal opinion is that has done more to the price of Wolf than the burns. The burns are nice, but it's nicer burns, it's better burns if they actually take out tokens from circulation, for instance, by people basically spending them on something and stuff like that, right? So that they can never enter circulation again. But if they never entered circulation, then this is basically useless if they don't get actively taken out, right? Are we going to play the game on Twitchy Tides? Yes. Let's go. Let's go with, because it's kind of gotten late. So let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll do that again. Okay, let's go. 70 people. Let's see. Oh, there's so many people with cool skins. Hope there's going to be more cool skins soon. I like how fast that preset is. But it's not too fast. You still see things, right? So we've got 6 people left. 6 players left. Sorry, 4. 3. By the way, top 5 people get a pack, and the top 1 person gets my 10 million worth. From me directly. It's not for the company. It's a personal thing. I should be streaming privately, on my personal account more often. I should start doing that so I can hand out these kinds of things more effectively. That is a tough fight here. Tissues is just going up and down. Trishy is holding on. No. Now what? Where's more? Oh, Trishy. Oh my god, that was lucky. And now, boom. Tissues, congrats. Tissues will get the 10 million woof on top of the pack. Let me just quickly post that. So congrats. GG's. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. When are you going to stream more? Me? You want me to stream more? Maybe as soon as I've moved into my kind of long-term house, I'll have more time to do that when the kids are in bed, maybe in the evenings or something like that. I would like that. It's fun, but I might actually do that on my personal account. Build this up or whatever, because I have 0 followers. I've never done anything, right? So, can we rate NFT dealer? I don't know. You tell me. Is NFT dealer live? NFT dealer is live. What are they playing? Terraformers. Showing Atomic Hub right now. I can't see what it is. Sure, we can do NFT dealer. Any other suggestions? Okay. Yeah, I rate myself from Wombat Gamers. So I would have to stream right after somebody else streaming because I won't rate myself. Thanks for the advice, Coins for Vince. Wombat team has a lot of great ideas and brilliant concepts. What generally score the team down is poor executions and implementations of those ideas. Unfortunately, if possible, avoid those I'm sorry moments. We can get Olga to raid you from Wombat University. Yes. All right. I'll stop showing this, and instead we'll go on to raid NFT dealers. Say hello. Have fun. If Terraformers is a game that I should play to get more woof, then maybe I can earn my way back. All right, then I would say have a great week. Have fun tomorrow on the Chain Monsters Community Connect. Very important for you to join there and say hello. And yeah, have fun with NFT dealers. See you next week, the latest, and keep tapping, right? Have a great week, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. We got this raid going on. Stake 10K CPU for it. 10K? That's a lot. Anyway. Bye.